This video is about factoring equations in standard form. So when we're factoring, we need to identify the b and c values, just like we used to do when we were doing quadratic formula. The b value is always going to be the coefficient in front of the x, and the c value is going to be the constant. Then we need to determine what factors are going to multiply to the c value and add to the b value. Finally, we're going to put these factors each with a variable in the parentheses. So in number one, we have x squared plus 11x plus 30. So our c value is going to be 30, and our b value is going to be 11. So we need to know what multiplies to 30 and adds to 11. So what we're going to do to start this problem is we're going to think about numbers that multiply to 30. So two numbers that multiply to 30 are 10 and 3. Now, if I pick 10 and 3, the problem with that is that those do not add to 11, so this isn't going to be our combination. So we need to try another combination then of two numbers that multiply to 30 to see if those add to 11. So two other numbers that multiply to 30 are 5 and 5 and 6 do add to 11. So our variable x, we're going to put one x in each set of parentheses, and then we're going to put one of our factors. Because these are both positive numbers, we are going to have x plus 5 and x plus 6. So the sign with the x and the number depends on if the number is positive or negative. Number 2, we have x squared plus 5x plus 4. So we need two numbers that multiply to 4 and add to 5. So two numbers that multiply to 4 are 2 and 2. The problem is 2 and 2 does not add to 5, so that's not going to be our combination. So we need to try a different combination. So two other numbers that multiply to 4 and add to 5 are 1 and 4. So those are going to be our factors because those add to 5. So we have x plus 1, parenthesis x plus 4. Make sure that you are writing your sets of parentheses in a line instead of on top of each other. They need to be going from left to right. So number 3 gets a little bit trickier because instead of having a positive number for both of them, we now have what multiplies to 8 but adds to -6. So in this case, if we are adding to a positive number but multiplying to a negative, but adding to a negative, we're going to need two negative numbers because we need the negatives to cancel out when they're multiplying to make it positive. So two numbers that multiply to 8 are 2 and 4. We're going to make both of those negative, -2 and -4. Those add to -6, so we would have x minus 2 times x minus 4. In number 4, we need two numbers that multiply to 32 and add to -12. So two numbers that multiply to 32 are -4 and -8 because they're going to make a positive when they multiply and they add to -12. So we're going to have x minus 4 times x minus 8. Number 5, we need two numbers that multiply to -30 and add to -13. Now, when we are multiplying to a negative number, we're going to need numbers with one of each sign. So we could use the numbers 10 and 3. We're going to have the bigger number be negative because we're adding to a negative. So if I have -10 and 3, when I add those numbers together, they don't equal -13. So that's not the combination we're looking for. So we're going to try a different combination. What else multiplies to -30 and adds to -13? So I'm going to try 15 and 2. I know those multiply to 30, and 15 is going to be the negative number because -13 is the larger negative. Since those both add to -13, then we're going to have x minus 15 and x plus 2. It doesn't matter which order you put them in, if you do the plus 2 first or the -15 first. So in number 6, we have x squared plus 3x minus 28. So we need two numbers that multiply to -28 but add to 3. So this time, the bigger number is going to be positive. So two numbers that multiply to -28 are 7 and -4, and those add to 3. So we would have x plus 7 and x minus 4. Number 7, we have x squared plus x minus 20. So we need numbers that multiply to -20 And since there's no number in front of the x, that's going to be a 1. So we need numbers that multiply a negative 20 and add to 1. So those are going to be numbers that are pretty close together since they're only adding to 1. So numbers that we know multiply 20 that are pretty close are 4 and 5. 5 is going to be positive because we're adding to a positive number. So 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. When I add those, I'd get 1. So my factors would be x plus 5 and x minus 4.